Ricky here with Breaking Your Barriers, coming to you with another tip, not only for the World Championship of Public Speaking contest, but also when you speak in front of any audience. Now, this is the tip that I was given, I'd say years back, and it's been very helpful because it keeps your engagement with your audience, regardless if it's in person or if you're online. And it's even more important online because this eye right here is the loving eye that's looking at you, and you don't want to lose that engagement. So the tip I'm going to give you has to do with cheating the camera, which means no matter where you move and what position you're in and how you want to tell your story or give your speech, you want to make sure that you do not lose eye contact with the camera. Now, you don't have to look at it like this the whole time. However, even if you're not looking at it, they still need to see you. They still need to see that I see this person's emotion. I see what they're trying to evoke. I see what their intentions are. So even if you're looking this way, you don't want to be completely 90 degrees. And I've seen a few of my competitors who were doing this because they wanted to show the people watching that, hey, I'm talking to somebody else. Now, as you can see, I'm still talking off camera, not looking at the camera right now. This is what you should avoid so that you can keep your engagement with your audience. Avoid this because you could probably hardly see my eye, the fact that I'm literally a 90 degree because I'm talking to somebody else. If you plan to do that, make sure you're in between maybe a 45-degree angle. I mean, do the best, do the best and make your judgment call with regards to facing the camera. So when you're turning to make it look like you're speaking to somebody else, be in this position right here because you don't need to go full 90. You can go 45, you can go even less. Even if you're looking 2 inches off of the camera, you can still see that you are talking to somebody else. Now, if you want to make it even more accentuated, sure, you look a little bit further. Okay, yeah, exactly. Now give a beat, which means take a quick moment and transition over to this side now so that this person can respond to this guy or this gal. I understand what you're saying. So it works on both sides. I understand what you're saying. Or you can be a little bit more this way so they can see your eye. I understand what you're saying. Now there is a challenge. If you're all the way to the right over here, this is my right, or any side, and you're looking this way, it's going to make it even more challenging. So your goal is to make sure that you are in a position where they will catch your eyes. Now, if you are stuck in this position, let's say you've made an error and you're in this position at the very right or you're very left of your screen and you have to look this way, what you do, since they already know you're at that very edge, is you just turn very slightly, and you can still see my eyes, but you can see that I'm focusing on somebody else. So what you're trying to say is this and this and that, that and this. Take a beat, take a moment, have this person come over. Yes, that's exactly what I'm talking about. Once again, you don't want to go full 90. You don't want to go straight this way. Otherwise, it looks like you're talking to your audience. And make sure if you are addressing your audience, you are addressing your audience. It's not by accident. Well, I understand what you're trying to say because that looks crazy. So make sure, even if you're looking at the camera right now, but you're talking to somebody else in your story, take it off 2 inches. I understand what you're trying to say. And I thank you for that. I really appreciate it. Now, eye line is very important because this here is what communicates. Now, let's say the volume is off or they accidentally get muted. Your eyes will speak volumes. Your facial expression will speak volumes over any words that'll come out of your mouth. Now, of course, they want to know what's part of the story, but there's things you have no control over, and there's technical issues you're going to run into. So when you are speaking, you need to be prepared for those issues to come up. And when they do come up, you can still emote. You can still share your story. You can still let them see that, hey, I'm still talking to you. I'm still very engaged with you. And of course, if they figure that out, they're going to stop you anyway and say, oh, we're going to give you 30 more seconds, turn your thing back on. But they'll realize you didn't stop. You continued on like the champion you are. Now, here's another tip I'd like to give you as well. Make sure when you set up your camera, it is eye line. You see how I'm looking straight at you like I'm talking to you face to face? Your goal is to make sure it is face to face. And you don't want to have a camera where it is so high up that it's shooting downwards and you look like this, or it is so far down that it's leaning against, let's say, a box of crackers, and you're looking at it like this. Your goal is to get a tripod. Make sure the tripod hits your eye line. Some of you might be very, very tall. Some of you might not be that tall. Make sure you get a camera that hits your eye line. And then another tip I'd like to share with you is when you move, this is important, move with a purpose. Don't just move to move because that's crazy. And I'm not talking about only in competition. I'm talking about even when you speak in front of an audience, speaking for professionals as well as amateurs, we tend to just move without even knowing it. It becomes somewhat of a habit and we don't catch that. So the best thing is record yourself, see what other kind of movements you're making that are not necessary, and you can remedy those. Now, the reason I say move with purpose is because, let's say in competition, you want to move because you want to show that you're interesting. You want to show that, hey, I'm not just a pole that's standing here giving a speech. I understand that. However, if you don't move with purpose and if you don't move with conviction, those are the two things. You need to move with purpose and you need to move with conviction. Now, let's just say I'm angry at you and I punched you. Number one, the timing was way off. Number two, was that a real conviction with regards to the way I punched? Of course not. I don't even need to wait for your answer. I know it's not. So when you move, when I went to now see once again, here on my right, I'm moving back into the past if I'm moving this way. And you guys might see it with me moving towards the future because you're on my opposite side. Now I'm moving to my right, which means I'm going back to my past. So when I was back in junior high school, what was interesting was, so that's the reason why you would say that. You're talking about junior high school. Let's say you're already an older gentleman or older lady, and you want to move back into the past. You move to your right, and you need to move with conviction. Don't lollygag. Don't just. When I was in junior high school, because that's crazy. It has to be natural. When you move, it's got to be natural. It can't just be fabricated. You can't just come up with movements just, once again, just to move. You can't just start moving around just because it seems like it'd be an interesting thing to do. You have to have a purpose when you do it. Now, when you're making a strong point at the very end of your speech, I'm just jumping all over the place because movement is movement and you'll have a chance to practice no matter what. When you're trying to make a strong point, bam, get back in the center stage. Pause for a second. Move slightly forward if you can, in person or on camera. Deliver your line with conviction once again, because they're going to see it in your face, they're going to see it in your eyes, they're going to see it in your body language. I want to share one last thing with you. So you really get up and personal in a really positive way. I mean, you're not trying to be a drill sergeant to scare the hell out of them. You're trying to just make your point that you are very passionate about what you are closing with. So those are the three things that I wanted to share with you today. Make sure you cheat the camera. That's number one. Cheat the camera no matter what side of the camera you're on, and no matter if you're trying to recreate your story where people are speaking to one another. Number two, you want to make sure that the eye line is at your eye line so that you don't look funky by either going, something like that. Eye line. And the last thing, number three, move with a purpose and move with conviction. And what I mean by conviction is make that solid choice for yourself and say, I am going to commit to this movement. I'm going to make sure it is with conviction when I do it. And they'll see the awesome authenticity and they'll see the genuineness in your movements. It won't be forced. It won't be fabricated or fake or whatnot. It will be legit. It'll be you. So when you move with conviction. I hope these tips helped you. Those of you that are going to be competing in the next few months, somebody told me they're going to be starting in February as well as January when it comes to the championship of public speaking. Let me know if there's something else you guys would like to hear about or learn about, and I'll do my best to make a video to answer that question. And if I don't know about it, I'll let you know as well, or I'll find out. Until the next video, keep speaking, keep motivating, keep inspiring, keep encouraging, and most importantly, keep doing it. See you guys later.